bonito es volar a las 11 de la noche, a las 11 de la noche. Ay, qué bonito es volar, ay, mamá.
That Lakeview Mariachi group, oh so good, and getting us started for day number 3 of the Dia de los Muertos celebration presented by the Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center. For Motionverse Media, I'm Manny Diaz. Well, for the past 2 programs, we've introduced you to a number of folks, influential Hispanic folks from around the San Angelo and the Concho Valley, as they've shared their stories about what this Dia de los Muertos celebration has meant to them and their family members. Tonight, well, we're going to continue that same theme, but of course, toss in a few extra elements. Tonight, we're talking how one San Angelo man will forever carry on the memory of his loved one no matter where he goes, plus how we can take note of the Rivera family and what they're doing as they give us a look at their family ofrenda that you do not want to miss. Plus, the Lakeview Mariachi group, the folks that we heard from to start the program, as they give us one last presentation, one last performance that's just fitting for this Dia de los Muertos celebration. But first things first, that tattoo giveaway from our friends at Trufant Brothers Tattoo.
Whenever I won the $250 gift certificate from the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage, I decided this would be a good opportunity to go ahead and get the tattoo of my grandmother and to express how much she means to me and how much I love her. My name is Eric Samaniego and I'm from San Angelo, Texas. My grandfather had recently passed away on March 1st, and my grandmother, she's been going through a tough time with it, and she's getting through it. She's one of the strongest people that I know. And with COVID, happened just shortly after that, and then recently I had her oldest granddaughter had come down with leukemia, and our family's just kind of been going through it a little bit. And my grandmother's been a great example of being a loving, caring, figure.
Hey, I'm Alex Trufant of Trufant Brothers Tattoo. Eric's tattoo, he brought in a portrait of his grandmother from, I think it was 1972. It was a nice retro photograph that we were able to work with for his portrait. Made it real easy and fun to tattoo. So I haven't got the chance to do very many portraits of people. It was a phenomenal photograph, so it was very exciting. A great chance for me to step out of my comfort zone to do this tattoo for him. And I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope he enjoyed it. I hope he liked it. I think it looks like her. I had a great time. I hope you did too.
I'm excited, very excited about how it turned out. And I'm sure my grandmother's going to be pretty excited about it as well. I can't wait to see her reaction.
Well, a special thanks to Eric Samaniego and Alex Trufant of Trufant Brothers Tattoo Shop in downtown San Angelo. Well, joining us now is one of the most well-known event, certainly wedding and quinceañera event planners in San Angelo, Miss Rita Caranco of Celebraciones Bellas. I tell you, in talking with her, she's very well-versed on this celebration, certainly throughout Mexico and her travels. Rita, thank you so much for joining us. Can you give us a description of what this is like down there? Here, the way you talk about it, it's so much fun and just has so much vibrance to it.
As part of Dia de los Muertos, it's amazing to see the different forms of celebration when you look at the northern part of Mexico as you do into the southern part. In the southern part, it becomes much more alive and vibrant with colors. In the southern part of Mexico, 2 weeks prior to, you start seeing a lot of activity among the schools.
Well, Rita, you've seen it throughout Mexico and you've seen it throughout Texas. Tell me, how do you think that this celebration will continue to evolve?
It is going to be something that helps the younger generation appreciate parents, grandparents, neighbors. I do feel as though it helps them appreciate their knowledge, their love for them, and are able to say thank you, maybe not in those words, but show their thanks by following their examples, being kind to others while they're living, and not wait until they've passed. So I think that that definitely is a positive for us all.
Well, thank you so much, Rita, for joining us. Ms. Rita Caranco of Celebraciones Bellas right here in San Angelo, likely one of the best wedding, quinceañera, and event planners in the city of San Angelo. All right, well, we told you to start the program about a certain ofrenda that we should take note of. Tell you what, the Rivera family, certainly onto something.
My family first started celebrating this holiday right around when I first learned about it in 8th grade, when I found out what the true meaning of this holiday and how it meant to put all of my ancestors on the altar.
While we were creating our ofrenda, we spent countless hours painting frames and preparing the piñatas and also a floor display that we had for it. And those are memories that we will forever have.
And I'm from San Angelo, Texas, and this is how my family celebrates Dia de los Muertos.
Hello, my name is Lena Rivera. I'm from San Angelo, Texas, and this is how we celebrate Dia de los Muertos.
Remember me.
The way my family celebrates it is we like to put out a lot of candles, a lot of decorative frames and colorful frames, and we like to make it as unique as possible in our own way, especially with all the marigold flowers and how they're accents of all of the altar.
Last year, after my daughter's quinceañera, we had the ofrenda presented at her quinceañera. And at the end of the month, November 1st and 2nd is when the holiday is traditionally celebrated. We had all of our photos that you see here today presented at St. Joseph's Catholic Church, where we attend church. This year, I wanted to keep them in my home and prepare my own ofrenda, so here we have it in our home, and we plan to keep it up. I set it up weeks ago, and it'll be through November 2nd. Each photo is personalized with our family member's name, just so that, as this tradition carries on with my daughters.
Recuérdame.
Recently, we lost my nephew, and to have him placed upon the altar, this time was it brings it to life. Although it's sad that he's no longer here, we're glad that we can celebrate his going home to heaven. And it's just something that, with this ofrenda, that we'll be able to do in the years to come. And yes, just yesterday I was thinking about, wow, one day I will be on that altar, or, my child could be on that altar. And it's just one of those things, it's just important to live life now and enjoy it.
Que yo contigo siempre voy, recuérdame.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Dia de los Muertos celebration. Joining us now, Miss Victoria Enriquez of STEM Designs. Victoria, first and foremost, glad to have you on the program.
Well, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, STEM Designs, we'll get into what, the floral industry and how that all, it just comes full circle with this celebration here. But Dia de los Muertos, it's amongst the Hispanic community. It means so much as a Hispanic.
Yes.
What does this celebration? What does this celebration mean to you and your family?
Well, I think it's just to honor the people that we have lost and that we love, and florals are a great way to do that. A presentation of just a single flower can mean so much emotionally as well as physically.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great segue to that point there. With flowers, it's because Dia de los Muertos, it's all about so many vibrant colors. Talk about some of the floral arrangements, that are certainly that we can imagine you can go on for days.
Oh
with some of
gosh,
those
there's
things
so
there.
much to choose from. Just in different times of the year, you have different florals that come in, but of course for Dia de los Muertos we have the marigolds, we have lilies and roses and carnations, alstroemeria. I mean, the list can go on and on.
Do you have a personal favorite that whether it's for any type of celebration or any recommendations?
I don't know that I have a favorite flower because I kind of just love it all. It's just kind of what I do. I've chosen that as my career to do florals, so really it's just I just love it all.
Yeah, well, STEM Designs, it's a place that you can find in the old Harry's.
Yes.
Harry's grocery for the folks that maybe be below the age of 25, 30 and 25. You may not know about Harry's back in the day, but nonetheless. So that's where you can find Victoria in her business there. But we're seeing more and more of the Dia de los Muertos celebrations surface year in and year out.
Yes.
How important is this holiday? Certainly, not only just for the Hispanic community, but just as a society ourselves to honor the past.
Yeah, I think it's a great way for people to show empathy and to kind of relate to someone else's loss, not only your own. But I think it's a great way, and I think bringing in this museum for Hispanics, not only for Hispanics, but I think we need it just so that we can continue our heritage.
Absolutely. Which San Angelo and the Concho Valley has deep roots.
It's a beautiful place.
Yes. So yes, this is the first Dia de los Muertos celebration involving the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center. I know that's a mouthful, but it's such a great organization of what Dell and the fine folks there are doing. So, Victoria, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having
STEM
me.
Designs, it's a place where you can find just great floral arrangements. There's great work over there. Well, if you didn't get a chance to catch the community ofrenda outside the San Angelo Fine Arts Museum, then you certainly missed out. The celebration of life of the loved ones that have passed, not to mention the wonderful display presented by Tammy Merwin and Vivid Pop Events. Well, speaking of the celebration of life here at Motionverse Media and San Angelo Live, we lost one of our own. John Vasquez was welcomed to heaven over the weekend. I tell you, he meant so much to so many in our community. John leaves behind 3 daughters and 1 granddaughter. John, we love you, brother, and you will be missed. All right, welcome back to the program as we celebrate Dia de los Muertos. And joining us now, Ms. Sarah Delgado of the Association of Mexican American Students from Angelo State University. She is the chairman of Recruitment and Alumni.
Yes, that's
I got it. Yes, indeed. Sarah, so, as a former AMAS member from way back when, I'm not going to give that when it was, but from way back when, AMAS was always so influential in, sharing the Hispanic culture there on campus. How much have y'all kind of been able to continue that, certainly with this celebration this time around?
Well, definitely we've had to move everything for the most part to online. So we've done a lot of how-to videos. For example, our first event was painting serape. So I taught a how-to class on how to paint serape. We had it on Zoom. Everybody got their own paint kit provided by the school. And so that was a big help for us as well, since it's hard to do fundraisers right now and people showing up in person to give you money. So that's a little difficult. But another activity that we did was how to make horchata at your home, a dorm-friendly, single-person size. That was also a challenge to do. But the school also provided those the ingredients for that, and also for piña coladas. So we've done a lot for for
That's
Hispanic
not too
heritage
bad.
so
I
far.
wish we would have had that around back
Right.
So you were talking earlier, and you were telling me that you've kind of learned a little bit more of this holiday based on a panel that you were on. You're actually a moderator of. Tell us a little bit about that, and certainly what you kind of took away from that.
So that was very interesting to be a panelist or the moderator for that event. Mm-hmm. We interviewed three professors from ASU, mm-hmm. and what they told us, what I really took away from it was the struggles that these ladies went through in their college years to get through school in a time for them where they didn't have any support. They didn't see very much representation of Hispanic culture or people as professors or colleagues or like fellow students with them or anything. So it was a little bit of a struggle for them to get through, knowing that, I mean, they're kind of alone on it, but now they get to be that role model for the rest of the students at ASU that are Hispanic. Wow,
that's a good thing. It's a lot of things are coming to light with that.
Yes.
You know, you touched on, and we'll add on this here, Hispanic representation. You know, it's important because we're, you know, Latinos are it's one of the fastest growing, you know, cultures in America, continues to be. And in your words, what your thoughts, you know, explain to me what the importance of having organizations like AMAS and certainly the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center.
For AMAS, I would say it's really helpful to find people that are just like you, and in a sense that for the professors that were on the panel, they like talking about how some students will approach them at the end of class at the beginning of the year and say, like, hi, I just wanted to talk to you because honestly you look like me. Mm-hmm. And it's really comforting to have somebody in my class teaching me when you look like me. You know, it helps you to relate a little bit better to what they're teaching, even though it's might be a tough subject either way, but just having that support a little bit more is always going to be helpful.
Absolutely. Well, Dia de los Muertos certainly representing, or it's remembering the past. You guys have done it with some horchata, some serapes, some piña coladas. Yeah, a little bit of everything. So on that note, we will take a look into a paper mache skull from our very own Sarah Delgado as she takes us into that courtesy of AMAS, Association Mexican American Students.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm the Recruitment and Alumni Chair for the Association of Mexican American Students, and today we're going to be learning how to make paper mache sugar skulls. So first you're going to have to get the materials to make the paper mache liquid that you're going to use. So what you're going to need is 1 1/3 cup of water. You're going to need a half cup or 1 whole cup of flour. You're going to need some salt and some Elmer's glue. Just regular glue is going to be fine. So I have this bowl here, and I'm going to start by pouring the water into it. And then you're going to take either a spoon or fork, either thing will work, and your 1 cup of flour. And next you're going to need your glue. So we're just going to open this up and just pretty much just put as much as you want. It's about 2 tablespoons that you're supposed to use, but I like to just keep going until you think it's a good amount. Okay, so that looks about good to me. So we're gonna put the lid on this and we're gonna let it sit in the fridge for half an hour to an hour. So meanwhile, while you let that sit in the fridge, you're gonna take some newspaper and we're gonna cut up some strips so that we have our materials ready for when the paper mache is ready. So we're just gonna cut this in half. And then you can go ahead and fold this piece in half. And then you're just gonna cut some strips going this way across. All right, so once you have a fair amount of these cut up, and I have some already cut here, you're gonna get your ready mixture and you're gonna get started. So first you're gonna use a paper plate. So we'll take one of these. You're just gonna need 1 plate for now. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip it upside down. You're gonna take a pen or Sharpie, I'm gonna use this Sharpie here, and you're gonna draw 2 eyes. We'll start with the eyes. So I'm just drawing some eyes like that, as you can see. And then for the nose, we're gonna actually draw a little, almost a triangle, just like that. So now you're gonna take your scissors and you're gonna cut out the eyes. That part can be a little bit tricky, but you can do it. Next, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your Sharpie again, and we're gonna cut out an oval shape around the face. So it doesn't have to be perfect either. I'm gonna go a little bit down more, so it's not gonna be a whole circle because you want it to be a head shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. That should be about good. And now you're gonna cut that out. So here's where the fun part starts. I like to put down some newspaper or something to cover the surface that you're using, just so that you don't make a mess and you don't get everything too dirty. So you're gonna have this, I'm gonna use this newspaper to cover my surface, and then you're gonna need a bowl. So I'm gonna use this one, even though it has this flat base, I'll show you how to make that work. So we're gonna cover this, we're gonna fold it a little bit in half and lay it on top like this. So then take your mixture, take some pieces of paper like this, and you're gonna dip it into the mixture. So I'm gonna roll my sleeves up so I don't get them dirty, so roll your mixture in there a little bit, and then you can always take some off so you don't have too much on there. Place this onto your bowl and just put it on, just like that. And then you're gonna wanna fold down the sides a little bit just to make it rounder so it doesn't stick up like it is right now. So we're gonna put some on the sides there just to show you that it'll start folding it down on its own. And then we get to start covering the face. So what you can do is just put them pretty much wherever, just so it covers it a little bit until you cover the entire surface, except the nose. Let's leave the nose for a little bit. So something that I like to do to prop up the face is just take a paper plate, take another one of those, and make sure we just have one. And then you're gonna fold it like this. So kind of a burrito style, I guess you could say. So fold it that way, and then you're gonna fold these ends up, just to give you a little bit of something to prop it up with. So then you're gonna put this underneath the skull, and that way it just stands up a little bit better. All right, so that's about it for this part. You're gonna let this sit and dry. It might take overnight to dry completely, but that's okay because it's gonna be really beautiful at the end of this. And so this is what it should look like by the time it's dry. It's gonna have some excess on the ends over here, and when you take it off your bowl, it's gonna come off really easily. You can take off those extra little pieces of paper that were here just crumpled up to hold it up, and then you can take some scissors and just cut off that extra so that it comes out smooth like this. So now we're gonna put away this little mixture. We don't need this anymore. And we're gonna get to the fun part, so the painting. So here I have a little bucket with some water in it. Here I have some brushes, and I also have all my colors that I'm gonna be using today. So first what you wanna do is take your white paint, and I'm gonna use another plate as a little placeholder for all of my paint so I can have them all in one place. And you're just gonna put some white paint there. You're gonna need a whole lot of it to cover the entire surface of the skull. So I'm just gonna use pretty much an average size brush, and we're just gonna start painting. So just cover the entire thing. Okay, and so there it is. There, now it's completely white. And you're gonna take your brush and just leave it in your water because you might be using a different brush for the different colors. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the eyes. We're gonna take the color gray, and we're gonna put some circles around the eyes. So I'm gonna take a smaller brush for that one, and this one here. And you're just gonna paint some big circles all the way around the eyes. You can draw this out first with a pencil if you wanna get a more intricate design on there, but I'm just gonna go ahead and freehand it. Okay, so there you go, there's that first part. Next, while we let this part dry, we're gonna do some teeth on there. So you're gonna take some black paint. I'm gonna open this one up. I'm gonna use some matte black, and we're gonna draw pretty much the outline of all of the teeth. So for this part, I'm gonna be using a really tiny brush so we can get all those little details in there. So you can start by finding the middle of your mask from the nose down, And you're just going to draw the bottom part of a square pretty much. So not a whole square, just the sidelines and the bottom. So there's one tooth. And you're going to do this all the way till you get a whole smile on both sides. So now here's where you can let your imagination just take over. I'm going to be doing some roses around the eyes now that the gray part is dry. And so I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So you're going to take some red paint if you want to do some red roses, or you can do blue roses, orange ones, white ones, whatever you want. I'm going to be using a medium to small size brush for this part, and I'm just going to freehand it like I've been doing. So you can just draw little half moons, just going all the way around. We'll start from the end. Just like that, and then you're going to fill it in. And there you go. That's what you have so far. You have your flowers going around the eyes. Now we can go and have fun and add some more color to it. So I'm going to put this brush in my water so it doesn't dry out. And then you're just going to pick another color. So I'm going to be using some light blue. And just get some paint like that. And use a small brush because now we're going to be doing some more little squiggles and designs all around. So I'm just going to start from the very top. And just curve it down into a squiggle. So then we're going to do the same thing to the bottom side. You can add whatever designs you want on there. You can add some zigzags, like I said, some more flowers there, or whatever shape or colors you want. So the next one I'm going to use is going to be, we'll do some yellow. I'm going to use a little brush for this part, and I'm going to do some little bitty flowers on there. Okay, so next I'm going to take another shade of blue, and we're going to add it to the squiggles we did at the top. So we're just going to add some more fun designs like that one there. I'm going to take a medium brush, like this one here, and just paint a border, actually, all the way around is what I'm going to do. So it looks a little bit cleaner. Okay, so now we have another design. You can continue doing this more and more, just add whatever you want to it until you're satisfied with your masterpiece. So I'm going to leave this one here. This is how to make a sugar skull. Thank you so much.
All right, the celebration of Dia de los Muertos continues. Joining us now on the program, Rosendo Ramos, the director of the Lakeview Mariachi program there on the north side. Rosendo, it's a pleasure to have you on our program.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, this is mariachi music, just music in general. Certainly with the mariachi, the music there is just a huge part of Hispanic and Mexican culture. Before we get into that, Dia de los Muertos means so much to different folks. You were born in Mexico, raised here in West Texas. Talk about the significance of Dia de los Muertos to you and your family.
Yeah, well, I just remember always from a very young age, my parents would get us out of school, of course, if it was on a Friday or Thursday, and we would go to Acuña, and that's where my grandparents are buried. And it was always the gravesite was always, the cemetery was always alive. I mean, there was vendors everywhere. We would, my dad would always buy us these sugar canes. There was people selling sugar canes, and we would get sugar canes. And it's funny. You would break a piece off, and you just start chewing on it. And it was just something that I remember very vividly. And of course, we would buy stuff for my grandparents' gravesite, and we would go put it on there, and just a little bit of silence and just remembering who they were. And of course, my dad would tell us who they were, and it was nice to see that, and that's something that you'll never forget. It was just a really beautiful moment for us as a family to be able to go out there and see, and it's just really amazing to me how different the cemeteries look. Compared Mexican cemeteries compared to Americans, especially on that day. It's alive. I mean, it's just people walking around and the vendors, and it was a beautiful sight. It really was. So.
Certainly. Speaking of amazing, beautiful, it's the group, the mariachi group there at Lakeview High School, and you've done such a great job. You've been there for 6 years with this program. You've pretty much rebooted it. Tell me about what you guys have done and certainly the direction that this program is moving.
Yeah, well, you know, the mariachi music in general, I feel one of the strongest symbols of Mexican culture, mariachi music, and I feel like it's important for the kids to understand how important it is for us to express that to the community, especially when people don't know about the music. That's our job, is to educate them, and that way they appreciate the culture more, and maybe we can find some kind of common ground between both American culture and Mexican culture. Especially when it's needed the most. Mm-hmm. So it's, we start them off in 6th grade, and they pick an instrument they want to play, and then we start teaching them, whether it's a violin or trumpet, a guitarrón, a vihuela, or a guitar. Those are the instruments that we start teaching in 6th grade, and then they learn how to play the instruments based off of kind of band and orchestra style methods, and then as they go on, we start putting them together and we start making music. And we go to competitions. We've represented San Angelo at Mariachi Vargas Extravaganza, which is in San Antonio, one of the biggest mariachi competitions in the country. And they represented very well. I mean, we work hard. They rehearse in the afternoons for long periods of times, especially before competitions, and they put in the time. It's a labor of love. They have to love it to be there and spend the time. But no, it's awesome to go and play at different events, whether it's community events or quinceañeras or weddings, and people just get to hear the students, and they're wearing their traje, their sombreros, and they look amazing and they sound great. I think it just gives them that much more pride of who they are and where their culture.
That's fantastic, and that's something that can be found strictly on the north side of San Angelo. That's what just gives you guys a little bit more pride in what y'all do. Yeah. The song that the group will be performing is La Llorona. Tell us a little bit about the song and kind of, if you can, maybe the historical elements of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of different stories of La Llorona. I think everybody in any family has their own, they tweak it to their own selves. But, La Llorona, one of the biggest folklores of Mexico, and especially right now around Halloween and Day of the Dead, based off of a woman who drowned her children because of a love affair or whatever it was. And, it's really awesome. The music that we play, it's really creepy sounding, and it sounds really nice. And it's sang by one of our students. Her name is Jessie Martinez, and she's one of our new students that came in this year. She's coming in from the Central District. She's transferred over to Lakeview to be a part of the mariachi, which is really amazing, and she's got a great voice. And just the creepiness of the song, La Llorona, it's a beautiful song, and of course, it adds to this ambiance, especially right now, Halloween and Day of the Dead. I can imagine. All right, Rosendo, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program and chatting with you, man. The Lakeview Mariachi program directed by Mr. Rosendo Ramos. It's been a pleasure. Now performing La Llorona, the Lakeview Mariachi Group.
Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante, pero sabroso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante, pero sabroso. Ay.
Well, the Lakeview Mariachi Group giving us one heck of a performance of La Llorona. Big thanks to the kids from the north side of San Angelo. Well, on behalf of the San Angelo Hispanic Heritage Museum and Cultural Center, I'd like to say thank you as we bid farewell for one last time, especially to all of our guests, all those who had a hand in producing this event, and most importantly, our sponsors who played a pivotal role in allowing us to showcase this beautiful, beautiful celebration of life that means oh so much to so many. So thank you. All right, for one last time, for Motionverse Media, I'm Manny Diaz. We'll let the Lakeview Mariachi Group take us home. Good night. God bless.
Llorona, porque no me ven llorar. Dicen que no tengo duelo, llorona, porque no me ven llorar. Hay muertos que no hacen ruido, llorona, y es más grande su penar. Hay muertos que no hacen ruido, llorona, y es más grande su penar. Ay, de mi llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Ay, de mi llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Y aunque la vida me cueste, llorona, no dejaré de quererte.